Here, my former colleague, Emmanuel Acho, now at FS1, had this to say about Angel Reese this week. Quote, Angel Reese, you can't be the big bad wolf and then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Nobody mourns when the villain catches an L. And Angel Reese, you're self-proclaimed to be the villain.
Stephen A. Smith just hit Angel Reese with a reality check she never expected. And this wasn't some soft pep talk wrapped in kindness. Angel seemed to believe she was beyond criticism. If you thought the media frenzy had maxed out with post-game soundbites and online drama, think again. Stephen A. didn't just question the story, he tore it down piece by piece.
It's not about black and white, it's about that white player and that black player. Why? Because of the history that they had before they came to the WNBA.
The real question is, what set off this verbal takedown? Get ready. This wasn't just about a subpar performance, it was a total disappearing act on the biggest stage imaginable. Angel Reese had every chance to shine, every opportunity to silence the critics, but instead, she gave a textbook example of fading when it mattered most. Stephen A. Smith didn't pull any punches. He methodically tore apart the myth that's surrounded her since that championship celebration. This wasn't commentary, it was an intervention. Not for her skills, which are still there somewhere, but for the false notion that she and Caitlin Clark should even be mentioned in the same breath. You've heard the story. The fearless competitor who never backs down, the future face of women's basketball, the player destined to lift the league with personality and talent alone. But when the lights came on and the pressure hit, here's what really happened. Stephen A. Smith stared into the camera and spoke the truth no one wanted to admit.
One of the things that we can't ignore, that part of the reason it was tough for Angel Reese when they lost Monday night is because LSU got their asses handed to them. Excuse my language, but it is necessary in this particular situation. Caitlin Clark gave it to them. Dropped 41, 9 of 18 shooting from three-point range, 9 of 20 to be exact, I'm sorry. And by the way, she put on an absolute show. She came out shooting from the logo and took it to them. She was clearly the best player on the court and bust their living you know what.
That moment crushed the illusion completely. This wasn't just about one rough game or bad luck. It was the culmination of a pattern months in the making. Angel Reese had the stage all to herself, the perfect chance to silence her critics and prove she belonged with the best. Instead, 4 points in 27 minutes during a 35-point blowout. That's not just falling short, that's disappearing entirely. Stephen A. Smith didn't sugarcoat it. He called it exactly as he saw it. This wasn't "I'll show them." It was "oops, I forgot where the hoop was." That's not analysis. It's the obituary for the myth of Angel Reese as a superstar. And the truth is, this was never about a single game. It's about a trend, a decline. A player who came into the league with more Instagram followers than made shots, and is now watching her stat lines turn into punchlines.
You can't want to be the villain, you can't pride yourself in being the villain, and then you lose and all of a sudden you succumb to those emotions. That is true to some degree.
Sure, Angel Reese pulls down plenty of rebounds, fans love to point out. But she had 12 boards. Okay, and? What good is that if you can't score? Rebounds only matter if they turn into points, and right now, Angel is collecting them like Pokemon cards, nice to have, but useless if they just sit there. This is exactly what Stephen A. Smith honed in on with pinpoint accuracy. You can battle 3 players for position and still watch your shot bounce off the front rim. For Reese, scoring feels like an optional extra, something she might get to if the mood and lighting are just right. But in the WNBA, that won't cut it. This isn't college. You don't get playing time for vibes. You either deliver or you fade away. And while Angel is struggling to hit from 5 feet out, Caitlin Clark is out here reshaping the entire league, even from the bench. Think about that. Clark was sidelined with an injury, yet she still owned the media coverage, fan debates, locker room buzz, and the overall energy of the league.
I love this woman. I really do. I love this young lady. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her, during Iowa's homecoming, because my man Mark Shapiro for WME took me down there, and we were panelists. 10,000 people showed up. It was absolutely phenomenal. This girl is the best in the world on a collegiate women's level. I don't care what anybody says. There's nobody better than her. She is a sensational talent. No question about it. She is the Steph Curry of women's basketball.
Stephen A. wasn't just handing out compliments. He was sending a message. The WNBA has its stars, But Caitlin Clark is something entirely different.
She's a phenomenon. An angel? Right now, she feels more like a TikTok fad than a franchise cornerstone. Remember the milk crate challenge?
Big hype, lots of buzz, and then a spectacular crash. That's been Angel's season. Started strong, stumbled, and now we're watching the downfall unfold in real time. Stephen A. even went so far as to say what many have been thinking: I have yet to see any sign of Angel Reese being a leader outside of rebounding her own missed layups.
Harsh, yes, but fair.
And then there's that so-called rivalry the media's been pushing for months: Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. It was supposed to be the perfect continuation of their college drama, now on the professional stage. Except it's not a rivalry at all. It's a one-sided demolition. Even when Clark's off the floor, her presence is felt more than Reese's when she's playing. And let's not forget, this is the same Angel Reese who once taunted Clark on a national stage, declaring she was ready to be that girl.
She's now the player who looks completely lost out there. And the worst part? Even her own team seems unsure what to do with her. Head coach Tyler Marsh has tried it all: power forward, small ball center, hybrid wing. At this point, he might as well be drawing up plays and emojis. But the issue isn't her position or the floor spacing, it's her production. If you're only putting up 4 points, it doesn't matter where you stand. Reese has turned into the WNBA's equivalent of a failed reboot: all nostalgia, no substance. And the stats? Brutal.
She's been blocked 20 times while making only 21 shots. That's not exaggeration, that's reality. Stephen A. didn't even need to dress it up. The numbers told the story. Angel Reese isn't just having a rough stretch, she's actively hurting her team's offense. That's a huge problem in a league stacked with hungry rookies, players who've been overlooked, undervalued, and underpaid, yet still fight for every single bucket. Meanwhile, Angel treats the game like a red carpet appearance, spending more energy coordinating her pre-game outfit than sinking a layup.
And the fans have noticed.
When the ball finds Reese now, the reaction isn't cheers, it's groans. The sound of thousands bracing for another miss. Even her own teammates, who are grinding for every minute on the court, must be wondering, why is she still out there? That's not speculation, it's the truth. Angel Reese entered the WNBA as a headline, a brand, a walking soundbite. But in this league, brands don't win games, buckets do. Stephen A. Smith made it plain: if you're not scoring, assisting, or defending with real impact, you're just taking up space on the court. And we can't skip over the controversy from this week: ugly, racially charged remarks reportedly aimed at Angel. Let's be clear, no athlete should ever face hate based on race, gender, or anything else. But even Stephen A. stressed, this is about more than identity. It's about performance. Respect isn't handed out for simply showing up, it's earned by producing results. And right now, Angel isn't producing. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, playing through injuries, double teams, and hard fouls, is still carrying her squad, shattering records, and boosting ratings. Stephen A. didn't mince words. Clark isn't just a star, she's the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA. Not because she's the first white player, but because she's the first white superstar of the modern women's game with that level of mass appeal, scoring ability, and influence. She's to this generation what Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Maya Moore were to theirs, only amplified. And the reality is getting harder to deny. For all of Angel's pre-game fashion shows and social media buzz, her on-court impact is barely registering anymore. She's 194.59 from less than 5 feet away, a stat so bad it looks like a typo. Her shooting percentage is the kind that would make a JV coach wince. And the talk around the league is only getting louder. Front offices are asking, what do we do about her? Coaches are holding meetings to brainstorm ways to hide her offensive flaws. This isn't player development anymore, it's damage control. Opponents don't even bother to guard her closely now. They sag off, daring her to shoot, knowing the odds are on their side. That's not defensive respect, that's pity. When defenders want you to take the shot, you've got a serious problem. The coaching staff has shuffled her around like a chess piece, searching for some magical role where she can contribute: power forward, center, stretch four, but nothing has worked. At some point, you have to admit the emperor has no clothes. And that makes it even harder to remember who she was supposed to be, the college star who owned headlines and seemed destined for WNBA greatness. Now, that player feels like a myth, a warning about how different college glory is from pro reality. Fans who once cheered her every move are beginning to fade away, not out of spite, but out of fatigue. They want to celebrate real impact, not pretend mediocrity is excellence. When your top highlights are defensive rebounds and hyped-up reactions from the bench, that's not a winning resume. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark keeps redefining what's possible in the WNBA, still the center of attention, still driving the conversation, even while injured and sitting on the sidelines. Caitlin Clark's absence draws more attention than Angel Reese's presence, and that's not just about skill. It's about influence, relevance, and the intangible magnetism that sets true stars apart from role players. Stephen A. Smith's take wasn't cruel. It was necessary. Someone had to say what many were already thinking. At this point, the comparison between the two isn't close. It's not even in the same league. One is reshaping women's basketball. The other is fighting to stay relevant in it. Here's the bottom line. Caitlin Clark has the game. Angel Reese had the hype. And in the WNBA, hype doesn't get time to catch up. Stephen A. wasn't trying to tear her down. He was being honest. Now the question is, will Angel Reese step up and prove herself, or will she go down as one of the league's biggest what-could-have-been stories? Because once Clark returns, the gap, already huge, will turn into a canyon. And Angel better be ready, because in this league, second chances are rare. More often, you just get benched. So, what's your take? Was Stephen A. right to call out Angel Reese, or did he cross the line? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and hit that like button if you want more deep dives into sports' biggest controversies. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. We're covering all the drama, all the controversy, and every story others are too scared to touch. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.